I've got a little paradox in my pants. Every time I fart, it goes bloop bloop boo doo 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 doo. Anyways, I have no idea what the fuck that meant. It's okay. So yeah, I want to talk about Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix. Um, Now I will say there was a couple stupid parts. There were definitely a couple stupid parts. Stupid in the well. Let me get into that in a minute. Um, so this is obviously spoilers. I'm gonna post this to post this to YouTube. So there's definitely spoilers. Um, Essentially, when they set off that hadron collider, um, I thought that was very cool. CERN and all that bullshit, and I figured as it was happening, because what was cool about the movie? Well, first off, I didn't know if it was a movie, if it was the plot of a actual ongoing series. I didn't know what it was. So going into it, I had no clue. But I loved the first Cloverfield, and the second one was really cool. With John Goodman, I really liked what they were doing with it. I definitely wanted to see more. Now with this was definitely a cool little take on the situation. So this is like a prequel almost. Yeah, actually, no, almost. It is a prequel. Um, but when they set off that stupid uh, collider and everything shit the bed, I figured there was multiple options that could be had. Either they needed to, well, what they needed to do, what, see, how do I want to word this? Well, basically everything shit the bed, and um, they realize that they can't find Earth. Now, why was that? Did they get jettisoned out into space? Are they in a different dimension? Could they have been in a different time? Could it have been? Did they destroy the Earth? There were so many cool options that they could have gone with, or a multitude of those options. And it was kind of cool to try to figure it out for myself, at least. And I pretty much nailed it, but it was still pretty fun to figure it out, because when they first realize that the ship is fucked up and they need to fix it, and they're going to worry about, gee, where's Earth? We'll worry about that later. It was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of cool, but whatever. Anyway, first off, I apologize that this is so incoherent, because I just finished watching it. I haven't even collected my thoughts. I'm collecting them now, so that's what this is. Um, But yeah, were they in a different dimension? Did two universes collide? So on and so forth. And then when a few minutes later you start hearing all this weird noise and shit coming from the walls, and they open up the panel and there's a strange woman intermeshed with the wires. Once I saw that, I realized what had happened. They literally had the two universes had literally collided. They had gone from our universe into the other one, and as a result, she was wrong place, wrong time, and got caught, basically almost like the Philadelphia experiment concept, which was really cool. So when they pried her from all the wires and shit, I don't know, the fucking movie was pretty cool. Now I'll be honest with you, I didn't totally get the Russian dude, because he's talking to himself. His eye was all goofed. the worms were inside of him, and then he had that thing inside him. I didn't quite get all that, like why that was. Was it just matter in a wrong place, wrong? I don't know. I didn't quite get that. Um, yeah, I didn't quite get that. Now, one of the things I thought was really interesting and kind of awesome, but kind of stupid at the same time. It was stupid because, well, let me explain what it was. The whole thing with the dude with the arm, because he's basically the way it was set up was he's doing maintenance work, and as he does, his right arm literally morphs into the wall, and he's stuck, and it's like trying to pull him in, while other crew members come and like grab him and try to like pull him out of the wall, like his cell, like his molecular structure is whatever. And after they pull him out, they look down and they realize his arm is gone. Now, the problem that I had with that sequence is the guy wasn't freaked out. He's like, oh, my arm's gone. Huh. That was just weird. That was just really weird. It didn't, like, I don't know, I'd be freaking out. I don't know. I didn't care for that. I didn't really like where they were going with that. And then later on, when you see the arm and the arm comes back and it's writing. It was interesting, but it's like they're sitting there and like, oh, this guy's arm, which is now detached and has a mind of its own. Let's give it a pen and let's see what it has to say. The whole thing, it's just like there was no like, what the fuck, like holy shit. I don't know. That was just weird to me. That whole arm sequence. Because it's just, there was no, I don't even know what the right term is. It was no, I don't even know what the right word is. But it's like they didn't even, it's like, oh, it's Tuesday. It's like there was no wherewithal in their thought process. It wasn't even. It was like, oh, this is just old hat. Like I've never seen, we've never seen this before. But let's move on. The hand helped us. The arm helped us. It's like, I don't know. That just seems odd. I didn't like that. I didn't like how that was. I don't know if it was direction or just, I don't know. It was weird. And the one dude who's missing his arm is just like, oh, okay, my arm helped us out. Yeah. I mean, it was a cool concept. It's just the way that he reacted to it was just asinine. It was stupid. That was probably the worst part of the show. Because they're not even acting like it's... And they're literally acting like it's par for the course. Like, sure. Now, I get kind of the point, as in... Things are all different. Things are, I don't even know. I mean, I get how they kind of tried to explain it, how... Because... I'll say we are in, like, this other alternate universe. Things, physics and whatnot are different for us. And not only that, but it's almost like that universe was trying to expel us out of it, like get rid of us. Like we were a foreign substance, almost like a virus, and antibodies were trying to take us out. That was a concept, and I dig that idea. I totally get that idea. But that stuff was just weird. That was just absolutely stupid, the way they reacted to it. The black girl was great. I thought she was great. Great lips, by the way. Jeez. I thought she was very good. I got a little confused with the two black guys, I'm not gonna lie. Because there was the guy she was with, and then was the dude on the ship, and I got a little confused there for a second. No, I know that probably sounds racist. Oh, the old black guys look the same. No, I don't know. I got a little confused there for half a minute, but I did not get the Russian dude. I didn't understand what his purpose was. I didn't understand the worms. I didn't understand the little trinket that was inside of him. I didn't get any of that. Was it just matter displacement? If so, why was it in him? Who was he talking to? Because he had this moment where his eye kind of jettisoned off to the side, and he's like, yes, yes, oh, I understand. He's like talking to somebody who we don't know. He's hearing voices and shit. Was it the worm? I don't know. I have no idea. And that was a little weird. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to watch this again, because that was a little weird. Those two segments alone almost made it a bad movie. They really should make it a bad movie. They should. Those two segments alone, what I mentioned, their reaction to the whole arm incident, and just the Russian, that again, that should make this a really bad product. But there's a lot of good there too. Now, I like the fact that. Well, see, the problem is, when I was watching it, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like literally speaking it out, like, okay, this is what happened, this is what they need to do, and I'm thinking, because it was really cool, it was really entertaining for somebody like me who likes that kind of shit. Because first thing they should have done was look at the star patterns and see where they are. Are they near Earth? Are they completely? I mean, they could have been. I mean, who the hell knows? They could have been jettisoned halfway across the solar system. Who the fuck knows? You don't know. I mean, seriously, you don't know. So they needed to look at the star patterns first off. Now, obviously, they had to get the ship up and running, so on and so forth. I get that. But once they started to figure out what was going on, and I think they could have spent a little more time, especially with the. They could have had a few more dialogue moments about like what's the possibilities of what's going on, because they had that moment, and it was like, oh, we can't find Earth, and we need to fix the ship. So you go over here and fix the ship, and you go over here and do that, and we'll deal with the rest of it later. They could have drawn that out just a little bit more. Gave some examples of what could possibly happen, or what had possibly happened, and explained it to the audience a little better. I think they could have definitely held that beat just a little bit further. And I think that was a fail. Because you got something really cool here, and it's like, and then they just didn't do anything with it. It's like they lead you to the mountaintop, and then they just kind of push you backwards instead of letting you go down the front. Instead of going down the front, they went down the back, basically. So I think if they had held that one beat just a little bit longer, and then did some more dialogue, exposition, if you will, about what the situation actually could very well be, because there was no, are we in a different time? Are we in a different universe? Have we been jettisoned across the universe? Are we in the multiverse? Did our universes collide? Did we destroy Earth? They didn't really dwell on any of that, and that was the coolest part of the show. And it was like, if they had just held on to it a little bit more and just discussed it a little bit more, I think it would have gone much better. And then it turns out to be like a typical, almost horror film where it's like everybody gets picked off. That was a little weak. I feel bad for the dude who who's in the piece of the ship that's floating off into space somewhere. And you can imagine it, you're left alone, literally in an alternate universe, floating out in the middle of space, and nobody knows you're there, and you're gonna die. Now, shit, dude, I would have locked the fucking thing, or undid it, and as it started to float away, I'd quickly open the door and like try to jump out and and like kick off. I mean, and try to float back toward the space station. Because I mean, bare minimum, least you're gonna get close. I mean, it might take a little bit, but there's no way in hell I'm gonna be floating out in space like that. Fuck you. He could open that door. Now, granted, he could have missed. He'd be gonna die anyway. So you take a good chance that you kick off and kind of just float and hope you get to the station. You know. I do want to talk about the ending. I'm gonna skip ahead to the ending. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. The black dude's like, tell them not to come back. Tell them not to come back. Tell them not to come back. And then you see the little ship, the little pod, escape pod, and you see that big ass fucking monster. That was some cool shit. I'm not gonna lie. That was some definitely cool. Now, first off, I want to know how many of these fucking things are there? What are they? Where exactly did they come from? Are they from the alternate? See, because I think what happened was, I think multiple things happened. I think we literally ripped a tear in the fabric of reality when we set that thing in motion, and our space station went to theirs and completely destroyed theirs. Now I'm not sure either. Did theirs just blow up, or did ours blow it up? I'm not exactly sure what happened. Because I think they went to do it and it ended up destroying the station, and then ours popped in. Or ours popped in and destroyed theirs. I think ours popped in and destroyed theirs, but I'm not too sure about that. Again, I want to watch this again. I think that's what happened, because what's-her-face got meshed with the wires, so ours had to have popped in and then destroyed theirs. It has to be how it played out. And as a result, like I said, you had multiple ideas that were going on, because now they did sort of get jettisoned, but they were on the other side of the sun, and they eventually did find Earth. But I mean, they could have been, who knows how far away they could have been. Depends on a lot of stuff. They could have been halfway across the fucking galaxy. I mean, Jesus. I mean, again, who knows? Maybe not that far, but, they could have been way out there. So the fact that they weren't too far away, which, other side of the sun, yeah, that's not too far away, no. Whatever. But either they were jettisoned, we are in a different universe, or we collapse two universes together, creating one, which means you'd have like multiple people and multiple things, and things like certain things would be in the physical space of other certain things, which is the whole point of the woman inside the wall, which was very cool. And yeah, I mean, because again, I apologize, this is incoherent. I am not forming my sentences and my thoughts properly, and it pisses me off because I know what I want to say and it just isn't coming out. But whatever. Like I said, there was multiple things that could have gone wrong. And I like the fact that it was kind of technically multiple versions of it. Because I'm thinking these monsters came from an alternate dimension, which, when we jump ship to the other side, literally, not only did it do that, but it tore the fabric of reality so that these monsters started pouring through, these quote-unquote, these demons. So it kind of did two things. I mean, at least two different things. Now, I don't know if it... See, I don't know. It didn't technically mesh the two universes together. But... yeah, because they were two separate universes. There was definitely two separate universes. So they didn't collapse into one, although they could have. And they might, maybe at the end of the way everything goes, who the hell knows? Because one, it's kind of like once you fuck it up, you can't repair it. So you could technically collapse. They could eventually collapse in and of themselves, especially if you destroy the membrane between the two multiverses. Um, they could easily collapse in on themselves. So I don't know. It was definitely a cool concept. Fucking CERN assholes. Swear to God. And to have one that big out in space like that, holy shit. Which I don't. I actually think they're doing something like that because they're constantly trying to make those fucking things bigger, and the bigger they are, the more fucked up it's going to be. And I'm telling you right now, they are going to do something like that. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. So you say, well, this is, fiction and science fiction. No, it's not. It's fucking science real, fucker, because it's going to happen. These assholes. I mean, CERN right now is doing that shit. They're sending particles into another dimension and trying to quote unquote communicate with something over there. Now, I don't think you're going to have, 100-story fucking high monsters, but shit, a couple fucking demons running around the house, you never know. It's crazy shit. Anyways, yeah, it was definitely pretty cool. I mean, there were parts of it that I thought were really good, and there were parts of it were kind of like, that could have been better. That could have been. I mean, there was definitely a couple spots I mentioned. Again, I mean, I do think they should have held that one beat just a little bit more and kind of went over their options and kind of discussed it a little bit more before they went and, oh, we got to fix the ship, and then everything happened. But just having it where they go through the laundry list of options. I mean, again, could they have been in a different time? Could it have been some sort of time travel thing? Who the hell knows? You don't know. You don't know. Probably not. But they should have at least acknowledged that. Because again, when it first starts out, the ship just got fucked up, and they can't find Earth. So again, you have to ask what are the possibilities? Possibilities we're in a different time. Possibilities we completely destroyed Earth. Possibility that we've been jettisoned across the galaxy. Possibility that we're in an alternate universe. They should have gone through all the laundry list of shit that could have gone wrong, and then checked it off. Well, time really is nothing technically that could have created a time distortion. So that's probably not gonna happen. That's probably not a thing. Are we on the other side of the universe? Are we, other side of the sun? Who knows? Did we destroy the Earth? We don't know. And then they should have tried to figure out each one of those things individually. Or again, are we in an alternate universe, so on and so forth? And then they find the woman in the wall, and it's like, okay, now we realize we're in an alternate universe. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they had held that beat a little bit more, like I said. And the whole thing with the arm, the reaction to it was just goofy. But anyways, as the series is, I definitely want to see where they go with it. Because what do they do now? Because apparently, according to Cloverfield, the original, even our best weapons are not taking this thing down, or things, however many there were. So I don't know what happens. And actually, what's interesting is when we tore the fabric of reality, did the monsters show up in both worlds? Because if that's the case, then you could have had Cloverfield in our universe, the original, and then the John Goodman one, part 2, could have been in the other one. You don't really know, or vice versa. Who knows? So it could have been either universe. Actually, I'll have to go back and watch one. So I'm wondering if they mentioned, because it was a certain, whatever, 13-year war or something they mentioned. Um, I wonder if there was any hint of that in one or two. I haven't seen one or two in a while, so um, I'm curious. I'm curious how it all ties together. I'm definitely curious because, like I said, now you've got potentially two different universes with two different problems. Um, and not only that, but like I said, the universes could eventually collapse in on themselves anyway. And if that's the case, actually, it would be kind of cool because if that's the case, then that woman, her kids would go from one universe to the other universe, but then you'd have her in the other universe with the kids. Now you got two of them, and I don't know. It's kind of like Fringe when they had the whole thing with the building, where the one building's occupying the same space as the other, and they all kind of mesh together. That is just cool shit. I really dig that. Um, yeah, because like it's basically the same matter occupying the same space, and you just can't have that. And like I said, it's very similar to the Philadelphia experiment. So that was a really cool little kick in the nuts too. So yeah, I dig what they were trying to do with this, and I like it. I just, like I said, it was just a few uh, moments where it was just. But again, it was my first watch. Maybe I'll see it differently the second time. In fact, I'll probably do another clip. I'll probably do a sequel to this clip. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the paradox itself was, because it almost sounded like that was just kind of the name of the ship. It was just the Cloverfield paradox. Um, which, I mean, I don't. I guess you'd have to define what a paradox is. I was thinking paradox like in a time paradox, but this is more. I don't know. This is it's kind of weird, but anyway. So like, what else can they do? Like I said, I want to know what the monsters are. I want to know where they come from. In other words, I want it to be explained outright because they sort of explained it, but I want them to actually state it. Like, okay, these are monsters from a alternate dimension, not part of the multiverse, but like a other dimension. Because what happened was the two multiverses collided, and then a dimension opened up. So you had two different things going on there, which is what's cool about it. Unless those monsters were in the other world, which I don't know, because actually, if that's the case, then how far spread would that go? Would that be the entire universe, or just the general area? Because if they're setting up that Hadron Collider and just the general area was affected, which obviously would be all of Earth, or is it all the whole universe? See, because the whole universe, and who the hell knows what popped in from the other multiverse into ours. I mean, you could now, granted, it would be a planet a gazillion, billion, gazillion light years away that we never know about. But who the hell knows what kind of differences there would be? Like some people are suggesting. Again, this is. But when it comes to CERN and all that shit and the whole Mandela effect, that there's these. People are suggesting that we're discovering new species of creatures today that are just like by the thousands. There's all these new creatures that we've never discovered before, and they're insinuating that the tear opened up another dimension, and these fuckers are just pouring through it. And there's some weird looking shit. I'm not gonna lie. There's definitely some weird looking animals out there that, like, how did you not see this before? How did you not? How did no one ever see one of these fuckers before? You know? I don't know. It's it's weird, but it's kind of cool too. I mean, it's cool in the same sense. Is there anything else I want to add? I don't know. Maybe I'll do another clip after I've collected my thoughts about the situation, because, like I said, this is just initial response to finishing the movie. I think it'd be awesome if they did a series. Um, the only problem with the series is I think it's going to fall into the same trap that Walking Dead falls into, where it's basically same shit, different episode, essentially. Well, there's no real ground made. There's no real revelations made. Um, I mean, really, if you look at Walking Dead right now versus season one, nothing's changed other than, okay, there's a lot more human settlements out there, and there's bad people out there. Other than that, nothing's really changed. They've done nothing to actually push the series forward. Like, for example, I definitely think they need to come up with, and I'm talking Walking Dead here, I think they need to come up with a cure. Not necessarily for the zombies. Obviously, once you turn into a zombie, you're fucked. But I'm talking about the people who are sick, that when they die, they turn into zombies. Because, what was it, season 3, season 4, whatever it was, where the kid died in the shower room, and then turned into a zombie and killed a bunch of people, ransacked the prison. They need something like that. They need some sort of momentary hope where, okay, the universe is still fucked, we're still fucked, but we're not as bad as we were. There's that little glimmer of hope. They need that in that kind of a setting, because it's like, it's same shit, different day. I mean, it really is. And I think the series is going to get a little stale, if it hasn't already. I don't know, it just... So if they ever did like a Cloverfield series, it needs to be a legitimate series where they're actually telling, stuff, and actually making it worth watching. Because again, they could do kind of what they did here, which is really cool, but at the end of the day, it didn't really amount to anything other than, well, actually I shouldn't say that. It did amount to something, because it set up the 2 Cloverfield movies. Like, where these fucking things came from. Which is cool in and of itself, but they didn't really... I don't know. They didn't really set up for, like, a series, though. Although, I mean, I guess they could. Like the black woman and the one dude. I don't know, did they land, or did that thing eat them? I didn't quite catch that. I'll have to watch that again, because it's like you see them land and the monster jumps up. Now, did he jump up and grab them, like, in his mouth? Or did they kind of fall behind him, or... I didn't catch that. Because, like, if he ate them, then the series over, but... I didn't catch that. I have to watch that ending again. Because that would suck. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's Netflix, so you're assuming that they might be setting up for a potential series. And, hey, the black girl and the one dude who survived, trying to get back to the other black dude and the kid, that could be a good series. I mean, it could. It has potential, so I don't know. Because I'm curious again what they do next, because can you kill these things? Are they I don't know. And what kind of devastation are they going to wreak upon the Earth collectively? I mean, they're definitely fucking stuff up. I mean, poor Statue of Liberty. I mean, that bitch got her head knocked off. That was a cool scene, though. I'm not gonna lie. All of a sudden, you're standing there, boom! All of a sudden, the Statue of Liberty's fucking head comes smacking through the town. That was great. That was a great scene. That was a legitimately cool scene. Of course, then you got John Goodman. Dude, I love this series. I really do. I dig this series. So anyways, you know what? That's my first initial thought. Whatever. Anyways, whatever. I'm done. Fuck you.